When I first started going to the gym, I thought I had to lose a lot of weight first because I was pretty chubby in the midsection. I was pretty flabby. So, I went on a diet of like 2,300 calories or so and thought I would just build muscle and lose fat at the same time because, I was going to the gym and I was moving weight. And I made almost no progress for like about a month before I really started to question if something with my diet was actually wrong. And this is when I got introduced to the idea of bulking and cutting. And I realized that, you actually need more energy and extra calories in order to build muscle. Like, I don't know why I didn't think that I would need extra calories to build more mass. But, anyways, I digress. Now I'm here almost a year later, looking and feeling the best that I ever have. And, I want you to do the same, to experience the same feelings that I had while, you know, going in the mirror, flexing my bicep, and really seeing the progress that I've made. It's just incredible. But, I'm here to help you not make the same mistakes that I did. All right. So, first off, what is bulking? Bulking is what you eat more food with the intent to gain weight, and more specifically, muscle. To build muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus. Otherwise, your body will have no energy stores in order to build up the muscle. Because, same thing with putting on fat. The only way you put on fat is by eating extra calories. So, the way you put on muscle is by eating extra calories and then working out. So, muscle is built instead of fat. You know, Calorie surplus, it is really simple. All it means is you just eat a little more than you normally would. So, if you're eating like say 2,500 calories a day and that's your maintenance right now because you're doing a lot more, you're moving around more, that you're not on self-improvement, you need to eat maybe like 2,700, just a tiny bit increase in order to make sure that you're really building that muscle. you know this will cause some fat gain as well because you are eating extra calories and that's what causes your fat to go. But if you're able to bulk correctly and smartly, fat gain should be at a minimum and your muscle gain should be at a maximum. Because as long as we're eating the right foods and staying within a certain calorie range, so we're not eating way too much and gaining way too much fat, the fat gain will be very minimum and you might not even notice that you're gaining fat throughout the bulk. You'll just notice about your muscle. There's also this idea of a dirty bulk where you eat like whatever you want. Fast food, hamburgers, fries, ice cream, pizza, all that junk stuff. And if you go to the gym, you will gain muscle. Like if you're on calorie surplus and you're going to the gym, muscle will come no matter what you eat. You're going to feel way more lethargic because there's going to be all this crap sitting in your stomach, messing up your gut health, messing up your hormones. It's just not healthy. You're not going to live as long. Your years of youth will be greatly diminished to the point where you're just like these normal people, despite the fact that you might look a little better. It's not going to be okay in the long term because you're going to bulk and that's going to be easy. But then when you cut and you're so addicted to these crappy foods, you're going to be in deep trouble. Trust me. And there's so many other like downsides. Your energy goes down, so your gym performance will go down. Everything about dirty bulking is just terrible. But eating junk food once in a while and keeping it in your calorie range, I think is a great idea because I know I struggled a lot with binge eating, especially when I started, and I still do struggle with binge eating. So if you can get maybe some sweets like cookies or something, like a cookie or two at the end of the week that stays inside your calories, I think that's great because it really helps you like from breaking and eating like 5,000 calories in a day and setting back a bunch of progress. All right, that's bulking. What about cutting? Cutting, as you may have guessed, is the opposite of bulking. It is when you eat less food and do more exercise like cardio, running, swimming, biking, stuff like that, in order to burn all the fat that you gained while bulking off your body and really give you like that lean six pack abs kind of TikTok boy physique. Cutting will involve like a tiny bit of muscle loss, and your strength might begin to plateau, especially after bulking. But if cutting is done right, we should be able to keep most of it because, once again, if we can do this smartly, eat the right foods, eat the right amount, eat the protein, you should be fine. And cutting, trust me, it will make you look incredibly good. Although I haven't really gotten into a cut yet. I had a mini cut after a vacation where I did gain like a lot of fat. And even after that mini cut, I realized that my muscles were showing a little more than before I went on vacation. You know, but cutting will be like hard because, and especially for me, I'm a huge into food, really. I love eating. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be nuts, peanut butter. I love meat, yogurt. It's all great, and constantly cutting my calories is not very fun, but sometimes it's necessary, and it will be necessary. All right, now let's talk about when you should bulk and when you should cut. So this section is just like my opinion, although there is like some proof behind this. If you want to change it around a bit, change the percentages, do you based on what you are. If you're a little bit like, if you're like closer to like the fat side, then obviously you should cut a little more. If you're closer to like the 6% body fat, skinny fat kind of kids, then you should obviously be bulking more because you need to gain a lot of mass, especially if you're like 5'9" and like 100 pounds, because that's just not acceptable. But the general ratio of bulk to cut should be about 70% bulk and then 30% cut, because the bulking is going to be always going to be the main part, because bulking is where you gain all the muscle. So you need to be bulking longer, like from, I don't know, September to like May-ish would be a good bulking season, and then cut in the summer, because cutting is really just to shred down, and once you've shredded down, it's time to put on more muscle because you lost a little bit, and you're always going to be able to look better, especially if you're like a really really new person. That bulking and cutting should be your main focus, because you're going to need like maximum muscle growth and maximum fat loss. So you really like focus in on that for now, especially for high schoolers. I really recommend to bulk throughout the entire school year, because that is a time where you're in a shirt, and you're not in the summer at the pool taking your shirt off all the time. No, you're going to stay in school, hoodie or shirt on, and it will feel really nice when you have a shirt and your arms start to like, because even here you can see this has a lot of room in it. When your arms start to actually like fill up the shirt and you look like a big dude, it feels really nice. And then cut like May, just before the school year ends, into the summer, because especially for me, I spent a lot of time at the pool with my shirt off. So cutting in the late spring, really getting those abs and veins and all the muscles showing through your skin is really going to be nice when I'm going to have my shirt off a lot, and I'm going to be, around a lot of other people with their shirts off, you know what I'm saying? So I cut late spring to July or August so that I have a nice lean physique when I don't have my shirt on for a lot of the time. But I also do not do mini bulks and mini cuts, because they don't give you nearly enough time to build the muscle you need to have a good physique, because you're constantly switching between the two. You're losing muscle each time you're cut, and then you need to try and build it back. But then it's really just not good to do that, because that's essentially the same as maintaining, which is not going to help you at all. If you're scared or self-conscious about your fat and you don't want to bulk, you're gonna have to push through the first few months, because a little bit of fat gain will come, but you need to make sure that you've built muscle first before you cut, because if you cut without muscle, all your fat's going to show but not your muscle, and it's not going to look good. Trust me. If you're really worried about the fat gain, I really have nothing to tell you other than maybe try and find a video about gaintaining or something, although I don't have experience in gaintaining, so that's not going to be here. But I know there's a lot of fitness YouTubers out there, and I'm sure one of them probably has some non-BS advice about not bulking but still gaining muscle. Just try it out. All right, but now let's talk about why I think you should bulk first, not second, first. For a lot of guys, me included, I was worried about getting fat when bulking because, I'm eating all this extra food, which is going to make me fat, right? Because, I was already pretty chubby, It was 5'10" ish, and I was like 150 pounds, 160 pounds. So I was not like a really skinny guy at all. But cutting will not make your problems any better because you'll still look like a stick. You'll be in a shirt and your arms will be like sticky with the bones showing through your skin because you've got no muscle. And it's not going to look good. Even if you have a six pack, you're still going to look like a stick. And that's, as men, it should be illegal to look like a stick as a guy. At least if you're fat, you have some size on you, and at least you look like you could freaking press a boulder or something. But for most of you, and I bet for you too, you're not fat, because fat is like obese. You can't even run 5 seconds without, having to go panting for breath. You're probably skinny fat. And the only way to get out of skinny fat is to not be skinny. You need to become a man of respectable size and strength if you don't want to be skinny fat. Trust me, if you try and cut first, like I did, you will waste months of progress without seeing any strength gains, any muscle gains. It just does not feel great, and all your motivation just tanks because you don't think it works. Trust me. Now, let's do to find out how much you should eat. Well, it's very, very simple. All you have to do is literally grab your computer, go and search up a calorie calculator, and plug in your data. Let's say you're 5'8", 120 pounds, and you exercise 3 to 5 times a week. Just plug that into the calculator, and it should give you an estimate on what your maintenance should be. So for me, I plugged it in, and my average was about 3,000 to 3,050 calories as a maintenance. Now remember, this was in the summer when I was running every day and then weightlifting after that, so mine was very high, but it changes based on metabolism, weight, height, age, everything like that. So if your number is like 2,000 and mine was 3,000, don't worry about it. I'm sure that something is right. And then tack on about 200, maybe 300 calories if you're a hard gainer. Go to the high end and to bulk. And then if you want to cut, just subtract 200, 300 calories. So I recommend taking the average of a bunch of calculators because there's going to be a lot of calculators that are off a little bit. So I would go find 5 calculators or something, plug your data into all of them, and then take the average. Because when I did that, I had calculators that said I needed 2,800 calories. I had one that said I needed 3,500 calories. I had one that said 3,300, and then 2 in the middle that said about 3,050. So I just went right in the middle at 3,000. So see, it's very simple to do it. And then use a calorie tracker like MyFitnessPal to make sure you're eating right, because it is very hard to know how much you're eating, and a lot of the times we underestimate how much we eat when we bulk because we think, oh, this is only 100 calories when it's 300 or something, and that adds up quick, and you can end up eating 4,000 calories when your goal was 3,000 if you just try and guesstimate yourself, because we're not very reliable. Trust me, our brains do not do food calculations very well. And also get a food scale too. They're pretty cheap. I got mine for under $10 on Amazon, And you really just need something like that, because all you're going to do is place food on it and it's going to tell you the weight. So then you can make sure that you're having the right amount of food, that you're actually like accurately tracking your calories, and it's not like you're just sitting there like, I think this was 150 grams when you ate like 500 grams of peanut butter or something. Well, obviously not that, but you know what I'm saying? Something like that where you miss by like 100 grams and there's like 200 extra calories there because you missed so far. And you can get them very cheaply. Like, I know I saw one on Amazon that was like $7. So they're not like this expensive thing that you need to save up for at all. You could probably buy one right now, and I'll put one in the description along with the calorie calculators and a link to MyFitnessPal. But to bulk, it's very easy because all you have to do is just eat. It's that simple. And also, you have to make sure that you're eating right, because if you're not eating right, bulking will not help. I said this earlier, but you need to be eating like in my caveman diet video, which I'll have at the end of this to watch, because the caveman diet will go over all the things that you should be eating. And even on a bulk and a cut, you should be eating these in order to make sure that your body and your brain are at maximum capacity for work. Trust me. All right. Remember, but sometimes bulking is not going to be fun, especially if you're like a skinny, hard kind of person who needs, like, who doesn't like to eat. You have a low appetite. It's going to be hard, and there's going to be times where you really don't want to eat, and you're going to have to put in like 500 extra calories because you didn't hit it, and you're going to have to. I know this happened a lot. I've had to go to kickboxing classes, to martial arts classes, with like an entire meal in my stomach, and have to do it while my stomach is like drooping and hanging out, and I feel like I'm going to throw up. And there's so many times when bulking is going to be difficult and hard, and you're going to think, I need to quit. It's not even helping me that much anyways. Why don't I just go on a cut? That would be better. But trust me, you need to bulk. And when you actually start to get the muscle after like 3 months or so, it's going to feel great. You need to push through that time in which you really don't want to eat. You don't want to eat anything else. You want to eat the junk food, but you have to eat healthy, because like everything else in self-improvement, the only way a bulk will work is if you do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. See you guys next time.